questions? Gonna do a quick test. Okay. That's me. You should guys should figure out how. Test, test, test. Yes, please, Sharon. Yes. We're just going to let it roll instead of breaking the stream. You're going to talk for like 20 minutes? You're not breaking a record or anything. It's about 20 minutes, and then it's workshop time? Yeah, the workshop, I don't think you even... Well, do you go back over the workshop afterwards? So you're just saying after you're done talking, that's all they would need? Like normally after they're done talking, I just say, okay, everybody sit down, I'm going to be walking around. Maybe I guess you can let it roll because they have questions. That's what I mean. Yeah, but I mean, you can always tell them to just, that's enough. I mean, yeah, it's up to you guys. I'm easy. I don't. Ask questions in Slack and I can answer 20 minutes, write it in. I don't know. Yeah. But they don't really, otherwise they're going to be staring at me just walking. Or not even. They're going to be staring at a blank screen. Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you maybe left the workshop up here. No, okay. Nothing really going to be up there. Up there.
Test. Yep.
Like, hey, what do you guys? What's your question, young lady?
What is your question, young lady?
Oh, well, LinkedIn, is it helpful for getting jobs? Yeah, how do I do job?
How do I job?
Bring your computer students. Yes, he's students.
Gabby or Gabe? Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Whoa. Wasn't expecting that. Is it okay? Yeah? Yeah? Too loud? Not loud enough? No, it's fine. I'm just going to keep it on. Otherwise, I'm going to forget to turn it on. Yeah. Claudia, is my hair streaming okay? Your hair? I'm just joking. Even if it doesn't, I'm not fixing it, so. Do 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 do. Bum, bum, bum. Wait, does FSA know to bring their computers? Okay. Look at you sitting in the front seat over there, Missy. It's not because you like me. That's so funny. Can everybody in the back hear me? Yeah? Emotionality. Is that even a word? Is that even a word? Emotionality? Are you just saying yeah or I can't. It is? I'm not good with words. Yeah. Very likely I don't know a word. Yeah. Do. Brr. I feel like this can't be all FSA. We're still missing people, right? Last crew that just came up from FSA, were there more people coming? Yeah, okay. Can you guys hear me without me having to shout? Okay. I still like to shout. What the fuck is this? Oh, is that to hide the cords?
Yeah, doesn't do a very good job.
No, I see the cord. Is this everyone from downstairs? Yeah? All right, Andrews, you guys give me a go and I'll be ready. I lied. Maybe I won't. Awesome. Cool. So we are going to talk about LinkedIn. We're going to do the lecture first, and then we're going to do the workshop. The lecture is just going to go through all the things that you should have on your LinkedIn, and then the workshop is going to be you guys working on all of that. I'll be walking around, so hopefully you have your computers. And remote, you'll just be doing it on your own, and then make sure to ask any questions that you have via Slack, and I can answer them. Great. So top 11 things all software engineers should have on their profiles. So first of all, let's get into why is LinkedIn important and a little bit more about LinkedIn. So there are over 400 million registered members, over 300 million companies. 94% of recruiters use LinkedIn, if not even more, to be honest. Every recruiter is on LinkedIn. That's like one of their freebies that every CFO gives them is money for LinkedIn, to use LinkedIn. So they're always on LinkedIn. There are every 2 seconds, or every second there's two new LinkedIn members. Wow, that was really hard to come out with. Anyways, Your profile is 14 more times likely to be viewed if you have a picture. So I highly recommend putting a picture. You can make it a little more professional. We're going to be doing LinkedIn pictures here anyway, so you'll have that. But don't leave it empty. You're 13 times more likely to be viewed if you have included your skills. So make sure to include your skills, and we'll talk through how to do that in a minute. And I guess this is a fun fact. The most overused profile word is motivated. That doesn't mean I would say don't use it, though, because I think motivated is a great word. So why is this important? Because it's personal branding, and that's what we want to do when we're trying to get a job, is brand ourselves. We want to be on all channels that people are going to see us, right? A lot of the times you have to remember a recruiter's job isn't just to look at resumes that come in. They have to source. So they go to these places like LinkedIn and some other places that we'll talk about later to source candidates. So let them find you, right? Why not? So number one, create a great header. So here's Catherine, and her header is full stack software engineer, San Francisco Bay Area, computer software. Something easy. If you know that you're only going to be focusing on front end, you can put front end. If you are kind of open and not quite sure exactly what you want to be doing, open to front end and back end and full stack, I would just write software engineer because that kind of encompasses all of it. If you want to do UX, UI, write that up there too. Yeah.
Question?
Yes.
Is just software engineer better than full stack software engineer? What's the difference?
Hold on one second. We've got remotes, so we want to make sure that they can also hear the questions.
Check, check.
Thanks, Andrew.
I'm wondering if you recommend using software engineer over full stack software engineer, and why?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're only looking for a full stack engineer role where you get to work with JavaScript and JavaScript only, doing Node and React, then I would write full stack engineer. But if you're open to front end or a back end or anything else that could fall under that whole umbrella, then I would write software engineer. Most companies like mine, we always just had software engineers and we put them on teams. We didn't really name them something else. But if you know that you are going for something specific and that's the only type of role that you're going for, why not market yourself for that? Cool. So create that awesome header. Upload your professional headshot. Again, we will be doing this, but you don't need to have one of those like glamour shots. I've always kind of kept mine a little bit more casual because I think that describes me a lot. I know, like, if you ever look at a consultant's profile, they definitely have the headshot going on. So it really just depends on what you're looking for, to be honest. Obviously, if you're going to be going for finance or anything like that, where you would be wearing a suit to work, I would probably recommend wearing something really nice in your picture. The taglines, we just talked about that. You can also do JavaScript engineer. There's many different taglines that you can do. If you're not quite sure, you can always run it by myself or Claudia and we'll help you out. Add your location. If you are in Jersey, but you're looking for New York area, right, greater New York area. If you know you're going to be moving to LA right as you graduate, write LA, right? So whatever location that you want to get a job at, that's where I would focus your location on. With setting your industry, you can either do software engineer, which is kind of like I want to be a software engineer and I'm open to other industries. But if you want to aim for one thing, like finance, nonprofit, fintech, fashion tech, then you can make your industry that as well. Again, that's just showing that I'm marketing myself in that industry because that's what I'm looking for. And a lot of the times when software or recruiters are searching, they might search like industry, non-profit, right? And then now you're popping up. Does that make sense? Cool.
Can you set multiple?
No, just one. So that's why if you want multiple, then you're going to do software engineering. Or what is it called? Computer software. Craft a narrative. This is really important. As recruiters, we're constantly looking at LinkedIn profiles, and if there's not a lot there, I may or may not want to call you. But with an awesome narrative or a summary, you could get me engaged enough to call you, right? I get to learn more about you. So when you are creating a narrative, these are the questions that you want to be asking yourself to help yourself figure that out. Yes, question.
We have a question from Remote. What would you recommend for someone who can easily learn new languages? And that's from Aaron.
Is this for a header, I would assume? I think if it's for a
Yeah,
header,
for a header.
I would just do software engineer, right? Don't write JavaScript engineer if you're looking for a role that's going to have Python or something in there, because people are going to say, hey, no, this is not a good fit because it says JavaScript engineer. So when you're kind of open, the best way to go about it is just writing software engineer, because it really does encompass everything. Okay, so when writing your narrative, these are the questions that you want to be thinking about to make yourself, or to help you write that narrative. So what was I doing before Fullstack? You wouldn't realize how often what you were doing before Fullstack could actually help you get your next engineering job, right? If I'm looking for an engineer in the marketing department and you have marketing background, like that means that you're going to be a good fit, so I want to know about that. So it's really important to talk about that as well. So what was I doing before Fullstack? What led me to coding, right? This is right here, this question is what I want to know is why are you passionate about coding, right? So think about what gets you passionate about engineering and write that out. What kind of jobs do I want once I graduate? What types of industries do I want to focus on? What interests me? What do I specialize in? And what am I looking for now, right? So you want to have a nice like past, present, future. And I want to be able to read it, and I want to be engaged. I don't want to just read something that's like, was in medical sales, came to coding, now looking for healthcare, software engineering role. That doesn't engage me. I'm not like, oh, wow, look at Tom, he's awesome. This is really cool. Like, I really want to call this person. So you want to have a story that's engaging. Yes, hold on. Anyone that's asking questions, the mic is going to be coming around, so.
So I just want to make sure, it sounded like we could almost make the narrative a little bit more personal, a little more casual,
Yeah.
as opposed to something that's very formal, saying, I did X, I did Y, I did Z, and I want to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, exactly, because where you're going to get formal is under the job of what you did, right? That's going to be like the formal. But in the narrative, you want to be a little bit more casual. I think it's kind of like speaking to one another face to face, you know, not a resume approach, in my opinion. So, yeah. So here is an example. After exploring the business side of tech, I wanted to move on from selling cool software to building it. That's why I took the plunge into an incredible world of web development, and I couldn't love it more. I'm currently a full stack developer specializing in JavaScript and the main stack, and I'm always open to new technologies. I think this is really good because now we're also getting down to the different technologies that he or she has used and portfolios in GitHub. This is also something that you want to make sure that's in your header, right? So I'm gonna talk about this first. What does everybody think about that summary? Good? There's one thing missing. Can someone tell me what that one thing that's missing? It's an A and not an A+ for that reason. Sorry. Yes, exactly. So this narrative is missing one major thing, which is what am I looking to do next, right? So you got to remember, whatever you put on your profile, they're like search engine, like, what is it called? No, but what keywords? Keywords. Okay, we'll go with keywords. So they're keywords on whatever people are searching. So if you have that on your profile, it's going to come up. If you don't have it, it's not going to come up. And that's why it's really important to make sure you write everything out. Because if a recruiter's searching, you know, Lodash and CSS or something like that, if you don't have both of those, you're not coming up in the search. Make sense? Cool. Another thing that I always recommend is writing things that you're interested in, right? There's probably some technologies that you haven't got your hands into, but you're really interested in learning. You can make another category under here that would say interested in. Because again, if somebody's writing Hadoop and you have that on your profile, you're likely to come up. If you don't have it, you're not going to come up in that search. Add your projects. So LinkedIn has recently been launching a new version. I think half the people are getting the new version, half the people are getting an older version. So if you're having a hard time finding it, just let me know. I've mastered both versions now. But in the new version, you will see it in the, once you go to your profile, on the right-hand side, you'll see it says Add New Profile section. You're going to click that down, and it's going to be under Accomplishments. So it will be right here, Projects, under Accomplishments. But let me know if you can't find it. Projects are really good, right? Because it's showing that you're already coding. A lot of the times, when a recruiter is looking at a project and they think it's interesting, they might even click on all the other people that you worked with, right? So you want to make sure you put all your team members in it. You want to make sure that you write a really good explanation on what that project is, as well as what was your contribution, right? I want to know what was the main thing that you did, because otherwise it could have been Heather or Colin that did all this, right? I don't know. But if you tell me I handled XYZ, then I do know. So make sure that you have a good description of the project itself, what you did, and add all your team members. This is what it looks like when you pull it up to add your project. Name, don't worry about occupation, because I think it comes down to more like what role you had, but put engineer or something on there. The date you did it. Make sure you put your URL, right? We all have, well, I know you have something for Git that you can put up there, so put that up there. Your team members and your description. And your description is going to stay for you and you only, so make sure that you write what you did on your description. Cool. Add your skills. Add technical skills and prioritize them, right? Endorse each other on your set skills, right? If you've worked with somebody on on a project, you should definitely be endorsing them. And you should ask them to endorse you. Add any and everything that you've used for projects, even if you've dabbled in AWS, like it's good to still have that on there, right? It doesn't mean that you're mastered, and then you can just move it around. For example, you know, we've got JavaScript, HTML, Angular, Node, like these are the things that you feel the most comfortable with, right? And anything on the bottom, you can still keep your skills that you did at your old job, right? If you have something like, you know, marketing or SEM, SEO, you can still keep those on there because it really does help sometimes, depending on the job you're going for, to have those skills, so you still want to show them off. Yeah. Any questions about skills? Yes. Andrew? Mike?
How many is too many? Like, if I have dabbled a little bit, like written one line of code in something or like slightly understand something, would I still want to put that on? And like, I don't want like a whole block of skills. Like, it gets a little dense at certain points. Like, at what point is it cut off?
I mean, I wouldn't put like 50 things up there, but the best way to do it is there's always this first block and then the bottom where it just kind of has multiple all at once, you know? So anything, if you notice you've got more than 10 up here, you can just keep them on the bottom and keep those as a I dabbled in, right? Because you still want to have it on your profile because then it's searchable. And you want to be searchable. Yes?
What about
Got to be fair to remote.
What about soft skills? Do they go into this
I would not
category?
put like communication or anything like that up there. No, because yeah, I want to do more technical skills, or non-technical in terms of like other things that you've done. Like, I don't know, you could pivot tables if you really. I probably wouldn't put pivot tables, but you know what I mean. Something else that might be relevant for other roles. Again, endorse each other. Think of this as a faster way to recommend someone for their skills. People to endorse. Classmates, teammates, staff, instructors, fellows. People do look at this, you know? So I would be honest, and I also wouldn't just go through all of the skills. For example, let's go back. You know, It's kind of funny when you see every single person. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would pick like 4 or 5 and recommend that, so you don't look like you just did it to build like your profile up. Like, make it look a little bit more real, because it looks better, authentic. Recommend each other. So this is different from endorsing each other. Talk about how great your teammate was when you were working with them on a project, and what about them was great, right? What are their greatest strengths? So here's an example of that. Steven recommended Kathy. Kathy is truly a one-of-a-kind programmer and a person. She has one of the brightest minds I've ever known. Works as hard as anybody I've known and has a kick-butt personality to boot. I was consistently impressed by her abilities as a programmer, as well as how well she worked with the frameworks of a team given her abundant strengths. She was a pleasure to work with, blah, 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 blah. So here, well, I can't go anymore, it just says more. Here, this person is not only talking about her personality, how she thinks, how quickly she picks up stuff, you know, that's what you want to do. You don't want to just be like, oh, this person's a bomb at like JavaScript, but pick out some certain things. If it's communication, like I notice in capstones and other projects, there are times where somebody takes the lead on being kind of like, you know, a product manager in that project, or a project manager. Like, you can talk about that, right? Or if there's somebody that you always go to because you can communicate well with them and they're always helping you out, you can talk about that. So there's a lot of different things to talk about. Of course, tech skills included too. Cool. Who can recommend you? You can ask people at Fullstack. You can ask your instructors, your teammates. Everybody knows how great of a developer you are, so those will be the best ones. But you can also ask old coworkers too. You know, they don't always have to be tech, right? Like, people are going to look at all my recommendations, even if one of them was from when I was a recruiting coordinator. Not that I was ever a recruiting coordinator, but if I was and it was from that, people are going to still look at that. So it means something. Ask other, you know, ask your teammates, ask your instructors, but definitely ask old coworkers if you have any. Joining the right groups on LinkedIn. This is actually really important. When I first started you know, sourcing on LinkedIn, this was a good way for me to figure out who was good and who was not, right? If they were on a bunch of groups, a lot of them that didn't make any sense, I'd be like, okay, this person is just trying to get a job. They might be a little desperate, so on and so forth. They don't know what they're looking for, you know, all of that. But if you're on all the good groups that other great engineers are on, I know that you're a great engineer at that point, right? So these are a couple that are really good, especially JavaScript. We had Angular because we used to do Angular, but React is up there too. I think it's a fairly new group, so there was only like 77 people involved, but just check out different groups. The great thing about groups is it's not just having that on your profile, but it's also important because people share jobs on groups. People share questions on groups. Recruiters are on those groups looking at individuals, and if you're answering a tough question, I might be like, hey, this person is really cool. I'm going to call, you know, I'm going to reach out to them. So it's not just having it on your profile, but it's also being active in the group. That doesn't mean I want you on there every single day writing something, right? Every once in a while, when there's a question that you want to answer or something like that, you can do that. But don't be on there all day long. Ask for help. So this is an individual that just kind of wrote this off as a status, right, on their profile. So that status doesn't sit on their profile. However, it goes into the feed. So anybody that they're friends with will see, or LinkedIn to, will see this status update. So it's just an easy way to get people to share it, like it, and maybe somebody else will see it, like a recruiter might see it, right? Especially if you have a lot of recruiters added onto your profile, this might be a good way to kind of hit them all up at once. And if you do put a status update, I'd recommend to have your friends share it or like it so more people can see it. Follow companies. Recruiters look at software engineers that are following their company. So there's actually like a tab that says like, which companies do you want to look at people that are following? And then you write your company. Because I know if you're following my company, you've already been interested in my company, you're really passionate about it, and there's probably a good fit right there, right? This does not mean go follow every single company that you're talking to, because that's no longer authentic and it doesn't look good. But if you have like 5 dream companies, follow them, right? Because they will see it. You can do this on AngelList as well. And again, when people already know you're interested, they're going to be more interested in you. Connect with people. This is really important because connecting with people means that you're growing out your network, which means that you can see more people on LinkedIn. That's how LinkedIn works. So if you only have 50 connections and I have 500, when I do a search for something compared to you doing a search, I'm going to see a lot more people than you are, right? So you want to build out your connections. You can ask us, right? You can ask other alums. You can connect with staff or employers, people that you interview with, right? College alums, that's a great one. A lot of times people are still referring things to their college. So if you have like a university, you should follow them too as a group, because people are constantly like sharing jobs on their college websites or group or whatever. So that's always a good way to get more people. And old coworkers. So try and connect as much as, I know there was, I don't know if they still have it, but you can even just put your email in and it'll pull up every single person that you've ever talked to. And I'm like, do you want to connect with all these people? Just say yes. You know, I look at LinkedIn, this is a professional thing. This is not like Instagram or Facebook, you know? It doesn't matter if you know the person really well or not. You're not sharing anything on here other than work stuff. So you can connect with them. It's just going to make your network bigger, which means you can use LinkedIn more effectively. Let's talk about extra ways to brand yourself as an engineer. Facebook, you know. You can use Facebook to your advantage. First of all, clean it up probably before you share stuff on it. But then write posts. I don't per se always I don't recruit from Facebook. I never liked that. I thought that was kind of like crossing the line, you know, in my opinion. You're invading someone's privacy, in my opinion. But I know other recruiters that do. So recruiters are using Facebook, or your friends might be at companies that are hiring, and once they see a post from you, they may reach out to you, right? So you definitely want to use it. Again, I'm not saying that you need to go in there and make it look like your LinkedIn, but just make it look like if there's something that's pictures or stuff, albums from a long time ago, maybe you can hide them. Yeah. So write a post. It'll help you get noticed. Draw attention to your tech talks or capstones. Videos are amazing. People always love videos, and you're going to get videos from here, so I would 100% recommend sharing them. And this is just a way for you to tell your Facebook friends that you're looking, and God knows where these people are, right? Or who they may know who's looking that they might get you in contact with. The more that you brand yourself, the more people are going to help you, because the more people are going to find you rather than you finding them, right? Make sense? So here is an example of a post. Last week I graduated from Fullstack Academy and I'm officially starting my job search in NYC. If any of you know of awesome NYC companies that are looking for JavaScript software developers, I would really appreciate if you could let me know. Easy, simple, just putting yourself out there. Other profiles to create. AngelList. For those individuals that are really excited about working at a startup, I highly recommend doing AngelList. You'll get a lot of hits from it. I've been on AngelList. I love startups, and literally my tagline says, I love startups. So I highly recommend it. Stack Overflow. So Stack Overflow is a resource like LinkedIn where recruiters are going on here to use it as a database that they can search for software developers. So how are you going to get noticed on there? If you actually have a profile on there, right? People pay money for this, so they're going to be using it. So you definitely want to make sure that you're on Stack Overflow with a profile. Twitter. You know, I was at a conference for recruiting one day, and Twitter, and there was like this older company, and they were talking about how they've got more involved with using new age tools, and they said that their second highest hires were made from Twitter. Like that was their second source of hires made, Twitter. Would have never thought it. I hate Twitter myself. However, obviously, people are recruiting and making hires through Twitter. So follow the companies that you're interested in. Tweet at them. A lot of the times they post jobs on there, but even if they don't have a job, you can still tweet at them because there are people that are getting paid to look for that. That's what their jobs are, to see if there's candidates coming through and give it to the recruiting team, right? So use it. You can find out who works there, and maybe if they're not on LinkedIn, you can be like, hey, saw that you're at MongoDB, obsessed with that company, would love to chat. Are you free? Something simple, right? And you wouldn't believe how many people are willing to chat with you. Because you also have to remember, most companies have a referral bonus. My old company did up to $10,000. $10,000 for just someone getting hired that you referred. So anyone that reached out to any of my IM folks, they were like, yes, I'd love to get on a phone with you. Of course I want to refer you. Why? Because they make money, you know? So you're not being a burden on someone because most likely they're going to get something out of it themselves. And if they really don't want to reach out to you, they won't, you know? It's fine. Just do what you need to do to get noticed. Oh, sorry. Okay, so suggestions for next step as we work through the workshop. Recommend each other. Take a second to recommend someone on your team, especially if you've done any projects with them. If you have a photo to upload, let's upload them now. Otherwise, you know that we're going to be taking LinkedIn headshots soon. Add your skills. Easy. Get this out of the way right now. You guys haven't done stackathons, right? Okay, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the other one too, because you probably don't have videos yet. But once you get them, you will add them. But let's take a couple minutes to just get your profile ready to go. Think about your narrative. Think about your skills. Write things out in your old job too. If you need to give more clarification, it's always good. There's a question in the back.
Hi, I was wondering, I, for one, have a very long resume and not much of a long LinkedIn, but I wonder how much of my old, how many of my old jobs I should put in. How long should I make my LinkedIn?
I look at LinkedIn as something different from a resume, but if you're noticing it's just getting boring and you're just repeating the same type of jobs that you did in multiple places, you don't have to fill it out. But because it's different from a resume, it's okay to have more information because, again, you're searchable. No one's going to look at your LinkedIn and be like, oh, my God, it never ends. But they will for your resume, right? So, but if there's multiple roles that are like the same thing, then you don't need to write it out again, especially since you have so much years of experience. Other questions? Cool. So we have some time. Everybody open up their computers and get to work. I'll be walking around, so if you have any questions, just let me know. Not that I'm aware of, because Grace Hopper is a part of Fullstack. But I would ask Shauna, because she might have created one that I'm not aware of.
It's going to be easier to find everybody, otherwise we need to type in person per person to know their pictures.
I mean, that's normally how you use LinkedIn. Yes. Yes.
So I already have LinkedIn.
Yes.
Very different kind of work experience.
Yep.
And I'm kind of thinking about keeping that.
Yeah.
Like doing a new one.
No. Add to it. No. Are you saying because you do, I mean, like, regardless, I know that you're going to use development in wherever you go, right? You can use your previous experience still, but to show your new experience, you want to have one, right? I would just add to it. You don't need to, like, cut down that much on the next one, like your previous work. These slides will be on, I'll send it to you guys via email. I'm going to send the slides via email, and the main reason I'm going to do that is so you guys don't ask me, hey, I didn't see it. Where did it go? Because it'll be in your email, right? So I want you to star it. Cool? Yes? No, it is. I said Angelus. Yeah. Yeah, I highly recommend it. We can't talk about every single one. Yeah.
I mean, like, if you express interest in companies there,
Mhm.
it actually sends out an email to
Yeah.
hiring managers.
I know.
And it's like a very
Yeah.
random companies that I never actually thought of.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Big fan of AngelList. Highly recommend it. I'm all over it.
So for full stack, do we put that under job experience or under education?
Education.
Education.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And projects we'll do separately and just attach them to full stack without.
I would do projects in the sections, not under the education piece, because then it will fall under education. And in sections, I think you can move it up to the top, so people will see it. Yeah, because otherwise you can do projects in education, but then it'll be all the way on the bottom.
Gotcha. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, of course. Yes. Are you gonna stay here for hiring day? Okay. I would pick one place because you can't put all of it, right? So I would pick one place, and then you can always say open to relocation in your summary. Yeah, put that in your summary. Yeah.
for full stack, should we just like full stack JavaScript or just full stack with JavaScript or?
I would say full stack JavaScript. Yeah. Yes.
People search me, they can only send me email and not connect. So
You go into your settings. Yeah, it's something in your personal settings that makes you not. Hold on.
yeah. So once you got your
Keep going down.
everyone's like,
Keep going down.
I don't think you
Privacy. Go into privacy.
okay.
Edit your public profile. Choose how your profile appears in a search engine. Try that. The first one. Edit your URL. Hold on. Go down. Okay, go back. I don't see anything on there, but who can see your connections? Viewers of these profiles also viewed. Sharing profile edits, profile viewing options, whether you're visible or viewing in private mode. See that? I would make your name like that. And then go down. Blocking, following, on followers. There's got to be something that's also about adding. Suggest your connections based on your phone number. Sharing data with third party. Two-step verification. Go to communication. Yeah, there you go. Who can send you invitations? Everyone on LinkedIn. Messages? Introductions and in-mails. No, that's okay. Yeah, those are normal. Maybe that we change the other thing, you might come up differently. Let's see. Can someone search you? Yeah, it saves automatically. Yeah, have someone search you and see if that works.
You already added me, right?
Yeah, let me know if that works. Yes.
How do you add like a position if you're unemployed?
I would write unemployed.
Right. What do I put here?
Can I see your computer for a sec? That's just your previous work from what I can gather, unless it still says present. Yeah, that's just your previous work. I mean, I think you can edit it if you want.